This is Bridget Willard in Corpus Christi and Warren laine-naida in Germany.
Dortmund, Dortmund.
Dortmund. Almost said Bremen because you still teach up there.
I'm in Bremen next week again.
Yeah. In Germany, Texas, we're talking about why small businesses need social media, why social media needs small business is a totally different topic. And like this is a big deal. It's still a big deal. It's 2025. We've been writing these books forever. If you don't have our original small business owner book, it's backwards, but like you should totally get it. But that we're coming out with a new book. Um, but we really just want to encourage anybody who's listening that social media is still super relevant. Um, Warren builds websites, he teaches social media, he teaches marketing, he teaches technical writing, he teaches SEO, he teaches PPC. You know, he does all of those things. He's been doing it for 30 years.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, age me now. I am the original digital native, even though I'm too old technically to be digital native. Yeah. Yeah.
No, boomer Gen X, like we're the ones that invented the internet. You're a young boomer, I'm an old Gen X. Like this is our age group. This is,
Yes.
Apple IIc doing basic to get your name to go vertically across the screen was like the bomb diggity,
Yeah.
in sixth
Or
grade.
social media.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the same thing, right? So you have a tool and you're using it to market your business or to make connections or to do networking or to do SEO. It's all interconnected. And I see so many businesses think, well, I could just start an Instagram account, not have a website, and then everything's going to be magic and people are going to show up to my coffee shop. And I'm here to say it doesn't work like that.
And I mean, and it never did. I think, both of us have been around the block a few times. And I think what I see, and it's a little disappointing still with a lot of small business clients of mine, is that they see social media as something different. And like you always say, social is what you do, and media is where you're doing it. So in this case, online. But I think every social media earner, every small business owner as well, um, they get how to be social. If they weren't social creatures, then they wouldn't likely have a small business. So
Exactly.
it's like this meme that pops up like once every couple of weeks on X. It was on again today with four older women, and it says, oh, here's a picture of the original chat room with an antiquated version of Windows. And one woman's leaning out her window, and the four women are talking to each other. And social media that goes back to the mom and pop store, like I don't know, 1700s or 1800s. We've always been social. So just because now there's Facebook or TikTok or X or Instagram doesn't mean that this is something you don't know how to do. And it's unfortunate because, and you mentioned SEO, social media is so important way of being found. So, you don't have to be a social media guru. You don't have to be an influencer driving a Ferrari in Dubai, but you do need to be visible. And I think this is much, much easier than most people think. And for small business owners, it's it's free marketing. It's like, what small business owner doesn't like free marketing?
Free.
Free.
So SparkToro did a deep dive in December and found out that 44% of all searches on Google are for brand names.
Yeah,
And so I always say, right. Um, but the trick is they have to know who you are
yeah,
before they can search.
yeah,
There's no time warp, Marty McFly going to 1994 and coming backwards, right? Like
yeah.
it's just like that's just not how it works. So the thing is that it's the behavior. Now, Sarah and I will go around. running around town just looking at shops and stuff, and we'll walk in and we'll talk to the shop owners. And like sometimes we'll have really long conversations and things like this, and they're really interesting, and you feel kind of loyal to those people. And so like there's a shop here called She Shed. It's one of my favorite stores on the planet.
Mhm.
And so sometimes we'll just go, hey, let's go say hi to William and see if there's anything we can't live without, because we know William owns it with his sister. We don't know his sister, but we know William, and he's very friendly and engaging, makes us want to go there and spend our money with people that actually matter. Now, this is the relationship building I'm always harping about, nagging about, encouraging people to talk about, is that you can't just post something on the internet, on Facebook, and then expect people to show up at your shop or care about it. You
Yeah.
have to respond to people. This is one main thing I think that small business owners really fail at, is responding to the comments you do get. Because it's akin to somebody walking in your shop and you're too busy on your phone or with another customer to acknowledge they exist. What are they going to do? They're going to do the same thing that they're going to do in real life. They're going to bounce. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend my money here. You
Yeah.
didn't even recognize I was in here. One of the things I really learned, Warren, when I was working at TJ Maxx, and it really like came home to me, is that people shop because they're lonely,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
they can go somewhere and talk to another human.
Yeah.
People shop in person. There's people that go to TJ Maxx every single day. I
Mhm.
know a therapist who goes in there because she's just burnt out from the therapy,
Yeah.
and she's just decompressing, seeing if there's some jewelry she can't live without, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we've forgotten, and I blame COVID for this, but we've forgotten how to be human. We've become very selfish. And I think the whole TikTok thing that really came forward during the pandemic makes small business owners think that they need to be influencers. And
Mm.
so I'm saying you don't need to be an influencer. Influencers are doing that so that they can get paid as actors,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
affiliate marketing. It's like affiliate marketing. When you're a small business, you're doing it to create relationships so that you have loyalty.
Yeah.
That's totally different strategy. You can't just dance around your shop and think people are going to come in and buy stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, and I mean, I'm old enough to remember, you go to the shopping mall on the weekend or after school because that's what you did. There wasn't any reason,
Yes.
but you did that and you ran into people. You never bought anything. You never went to the shopping mall and came back with anything. You just hung out. It's a very, it's human, it's a human connection, as you say. You go to these places because you know there's other people there, you're bored, you're gonna window shop, and but this is a great opportunity for small business owners then to ask questions because social media, even though it's online, the strategy is the same as it was before 2007. Okay, 2007 being the year when everything really kind of started. But it's a conversational strategy, So social media, or if some person comes in the shop, you're going to ask questions. Oh, what are you looking for? Oh, why are you looking for that? Have you tried this? Oh, la la la. Even if they're not buying anything, you were doing as a small business owner, you were conducting market research.
Yes.
So these complete strangers for free were giving you information as to the types of things, products that you should be stocking, and you paid nothing for that. Well, hello, 50 years later, it's exactly the same. You're paying nothing to get information, but from even more people and real time on over social media.
Yes, there was a
So yeah.
huge epidemic with the Hmong migrants right after the Vietnam conflict up in Minnesota. And because it's so freezing there, these Hmong villagers couldn't have their open air markets like they did in Vietnam or Cambodia, that general area where they escaped. Um, and so they discovered something. They built an open air market in a mall that you
Mhm.
walk to with a bridge, like a land bridge. And they discovered because Hmong men were prematurely dying. Like,
Mhm.
this is social science. And so to me, this is what gets me excited. We have a loneliness epidemic, right? And so, like, they did this study, and Hmong men were dying prematurely because they were so lonely, because they didn't have these village markets anymore. And so what they did when they built that, the Hmong population, their life expectancy, both of them increased dramatically. And so
Mhm.
this is what it is. Like, we are social beings. So whether we're going to the mall or to a retail store or to a networking event, um, I went to a networking event the other couple months ago, and I walked up to people that were sitting at tables and I said, "Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm a marketer. Like, how do you know the person that hosted the party?" And they're like, blah, blah, blah. We're her clients, we're her friends, da, da, da. And I go, "Oh, cool, cool." And that it just stopped. They
Mhm.
didn't ask me questions about me. They
Yeah.
weren't interested in talking to me. So it was a networking event that felt more like I was serving tables by going around talking to people. I was like, wow, like this really failed. And I think it's because a lot of us have become very insular in our
Yeah.
perspective, you know, and we forgot that it's not just about commerce.
Yeah.
It's about healthy social activities and
Mhm.
healthy social behaviors,
Yeah.
and so Sarah and I went to this art fundraiser for a gallery last weekend called Wig Out. And you wear a wig and it was supposed to be decorated with for the theme, which was surreal sugar
Mhm.
surrealism. And so I
Okay.
made my pink giant wig an Easter basket. And I hot glued it and everything. Everybody was like blown away by our outfits. And we got to talk to a lot of people. But you know what I was disappointed in? There wasn't a hashtag. People weren't using the wig out hashtag. There
Mhm.
was a selfie booth, but it was a silent auction, but it wasn't like there were posts on their Instagram account
Yeah.
showing, because I thought there was like only a few things. There were a lot of things to bid on this silent auction.
Yeah.
And then it was like, not everybody really wanted to talk to other people.
Mhm.
It is so awkward. Like like when you're fundraising as a nonprofit, you really want to maximize those fundraising events on social media. Because we were doing research, we were trying to look at Wig Out to see what the wigs were before. Like we were trying to get inspiration. We
Yeah.
could find nothing. And this is an annual event in Corpus Christi, Texas. It just felt like a lost opportunity, right?
Well, I always shake my head at how many social media marketing managers there are, but obviously in this case, this would have been a good place to have had a social media marketing manager, because yeah, it's a lost opportunity, you know. It's businesses, you sell because people buy your stories, and social media is a really great place to learn people's stories. And you don't hear the stories unless you're asking questions. And so yeah, lost opportunity. Unfortunate because I think social media as well. I mean, it's not an online shop. People are trying to use social media as an online shop, but it isn't. Social media is about dialogue, it's about sharing value. And but I think this is becoming a dying art. Uh, Perhaps just as conversation is becoming a dying art. So even more reason to be on social media and to motivate people. And probably the best way to do that is to ask questions. Ask questions, reply to comments, thank people, be the vocal one in the room, and that might just break the ice, just being present.
Yeah. So we talked about SEO, branding, those kind of go together in my book.
Yeah.
Bringing value to the conversation, um, building relationships, and doing market research. And I think this is why I've always been big on X. You don't
Mm,
have to build a persona for your B2B business. You know who your customers are. You
yeah.
know who your potential customers are because they tell you everything about themselves. Like one day they're making that bullet coffee with butter, and the next day they're doing, I know that. So I had a mental stop with the butter. I'm sure it's really good. But like, and then they're like, no, I'm going to do this little pot that goes directly on the stove, whatever that pot is called. Like they change. People
Mhm.
change. So when you say I'm marketing to Barry, who's 23, lives in the basement of his aunt's house, started with JavaScript, really likes React, but wants to build websites for a living. He likes Comic-Con, Star Wars, and craft beers. That's what everybody thinks a WordPress developer is. But they grow up, they get married, they have kids, they begin liking wine, they stop drinking entirely, they buy houses, they raise little tiny kids, they go to
Mhm.
church. Like that's why I don't believe in making a persona. I believe that you should listen to your audience by reading what they say. Everybody is talking about themselves all day long. You
Yeah.
know what kind of whiskey they drink. You don't have to ask what kind of swag to give somebody. You don't have to ask what would be a good auction item. You don't have to ask, what's a good client gift at Christmas. You know your people if you're listening and taking notes and communicating with each other. So sometimes a lot of small businesses do this social media marketing by themselves and they're good at whatever they're doing in their business, right, Warren?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're good at marketing. So I make a differentiation between a social media manager and a social media marketer. Because a marketer like me will come up with the strategy so that it makes sense to spend the money.
Yeah.
Whereas a manager does what they're told.
Yes, I mean, I would cut it in a little differently. I would say my social media manager, their responsibility is about making connections, okay, for my business on social media. My social media marketing manager, their responsibility is getting our business in front of our customers. So, and these are slightly different.
Well, I used to believe that was the same person
It,
until I met
yeah.
people who charge like $1,500 a month
Mm.
to spit out a chat GPT article that's a piece of crap and then post a couple, three posts on the internet and then never respond to anybody, never follow anybody back, never comment on any other people's threads, send one email and they're getting $1,500 a month. And I'm like, this is a bamboozle. This is what ruins the market for small businesses. And they follow these flashy salespeople who promise them the world. You can't promise you're going to get a lead for social media. That's not what it's for. It's
Yeah,
not an e-commerce website.
yeah.
It's
Well, I mean,
branding.
you can certainly have one person doing this job as long as they understand the differences between social media and social media marketing. And I think it's important for small businesses, just like every small business owner has probably taken an accounting course. Because if
I hope.
not, you will probably end up losing your small business because your accountant will be in Barbados and you'll be sitting here with nothing. So, I mean, even in cooking school, there is an accounting module. So what there isn't in cooking school is a marketing module. And I think, probably for many small business owners, they don't learn the marketing. And I think this is just as important as accounting. Uh,
Right. And that's why I'm always talking about the difference between influencers on social media, which are entertaining you,
yes.
and marketing your small business, which is branding, SEO, building relationships, and market research. Those are
And
different.
understanding that your customers, your employees, and your family are actually your influencers.
Right.
You don't need to have the paid dancing bear. You've got your own dancing bears right here. So, but again, this would be something that, as you understand as marketing, and if you're good at marketing and accounting, then you're going to save the money on the bamboozler influencer because you have enough people who understand what you're providing and can tell people about that. And that is what is really good on social media or about social media for small business.
Yeah.
It's just a free way just to spin that around.
Yeah. Let people know that you're in business still.
Yeah,
Super important.
absolutely.
Um, I would also say in many ways, the Google business profile can be a social media-ish, like social media adjacent activity,
Mhm.
because there are customers posting on there from going to your website, I mean, from your restaurant or, your services or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And they're
Yes.
posting on there reviews or whatever. People are asking questions, like how Yelp has questions on Google Business Profile. You can jump on your phone and post an update
Yeah,
easily for Google Business Profile, a sale. Like this is good if you have a physical shop, Like, well, even me as a business to business marketing agency, I will post like, "Hey, I was on a podcast today." Like, because I feel like if small businesses, if they like you, they will support you. Your customers will keep supporting you. They will refer you, like word of mouth on social media. Like, this is a big deal. It's
absolutely.
not about the first click lead. That is the abominable snowman. It almost never happens. And even if you knew it happened, you would have to have some really robust lead tracking system. And the customer would have to remember, I saw you on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Google Business Profile, the Bing Places profile, they offer a lot of those social elements. As you said, questions, reviews. You can put posts just like you would in social media, and it has the off-page SEO compatibility that social media offers as well. So and they're free, just like social media. So it's another free way to market your business, as if there weren't enough. There are endless free ways to market your small business. It's crazy.
So
It,
if a small business owner wants to market themselves and
Mhm.
do this work on their own,
Yeah.
which uh how much time would you have them budget per day to do this?
Oh, 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day, and you've said this, I know. 5 minutes a day means that you can follow three people, you can comment twice, and you can post something. You can do that in 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find an hour a day, but take 10 minutes a day. Now you've invested an hour, and everyone can do that. Everyone can do that. And
Yeah.
you can do that while you're waiting in line for your Starbucks. You can do that while the guy is, your delivery guy is unloading. you can do that everywhere and anywhere. And so do it, get your intent, like what's your goal, choose your platform, where are your customers? Okay, get into the storytelling. And remember, it's social media, it's as much about your customer's world as it is your own world. So
Yes.
it's not push, push, push marketing. It's again, listen, think, respond. Uh,
Listen, think, respond. I like that.
yeah. So, and share value. Social media is like, this is free advertising. So share something that has added value, a tip, you know, share your favorite customer. Damn, when you're getting that coffee and cupcake next door, take a picture, say, wow, look at the size of these cupcakes I just got at Jenna's Bakery. She's right next door to me. It's not
Yes.
about self-promotion. It's, small business is a part of the community. It's about community promotion. Because if your neighborhood small businesses, if they go under, you're going to be going under. So
Yeah.
really got that whole community thing. It's so important. And again, the groundswell of everyone in your little community posting and sharing, this is what keeps the community alive. When you stop, then that's the beginning of Walmart coming in, or whatever big box stores you got happening out in the burbs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same
Yeah.
as going to get your hair cut and there's a beautiful flower arrangement there, or a doctor's office and there's a beautiful flower arrangement there. The florist will put that, they'll have a
Yeah.
working arrangement for that. Um, there was, it went out of business. I'm not sure why, but I did like in this one shopping center, the sister had a hair salon and the brother had a coffee shop.
Oh,
So
nice.
like while you're waiting for your friends or right after your appointment, really like if you're in the same shopping center, collaborating with each other is so great. But again, you can do this online. I'm always saying, like somebody asked on Twitter the other day, X, we need a writer. And I was like, Todd Jones, Warren Laine-naida, Maddie Osmond, and Alex Denning from Get Ellipsis. I didn't even mention myself. These people are all, if you're looking for a freelancer, these people all have room, right? It's paying it forward. It's doing what you would want. Looking at yourself in the mirror. And I know right now everybody's really scared, Warren, about the economy and everything like this. But I like if anybody made it this far and like if they could just realize that this is so achievable, it
Mhm.
really, really is, and it really makes a difference. Just a short story. So I was the office manager at Riggins Construction and Management Inc. in Santa Ana, California, from 2005 until I went into marketing in 2015. I just found out I was really good at this. But I'd done secretarial work, accounts receivable, collections, that kind of, office management stuff since I was 14 years old. So but in 2008, 9, the housing market crashed. Now, even though we were in commercial construction, that still had a ripple effect in commercial tenant improvements because small businesses were going out of small businesses were going out of business.
Mhm.
So small businesses going out of business, just like you said, the community dies because their houses or whatever happened to them personally, that changes what a commercial contractor does with tenant improvements. That's what you call remodeling. So I was like, well, I'm not a salesperson, but I have to be here between 8 and 5. And it was slow, and I don't like sitting around doing nothing. So I had already built the website. So I started using Twitter,
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook page. I feel like there was something else, a LinkedIn page. And I just started telling everybody we're alive. I started making blog posts. I got that Twitter account for a commercial general contractor. This is the boringest account ever. To 20,000 followers. We had a construction chat, Twitter chat. Like I did blog posts. Like people didn't understand what epoxy injection would do for a concrete tilt-up building. They were afraid of what it would look like. And I had those pain points because my boss Tom was in the next room. And I heard those over and over. And that's why I always say, have a notebook next to you. And every time you hear something from your customer, just write it down. Just write it down and you'll start noticing, hey, a lot of people don't understand about epoxy injection repairs. And it's really a weld. So I got with my subcontractor. I didn't ask my boss about any of this. I just started doing it. He didn't know what it was. He thought I was just tweeting about my lunch. In
Mm,
fact, he would watch and he thought, I don't know what he thought I was doing. I was doing two jobs simultaneously. So I like found these commercial real estate brokers, right? More that's like your best friend in commercial construction, the real estate brokers, like how a general contractor and a realtor are best friends. So I was like, "You're gonna love Tom. Let's do a lunch." Tom agreed to it. We walked in there like we were old friends, and they referred work to each other forever. Like I haven't been there since 2015, but like that relationship alone, not to mention me making a video about epoxy injection that 3 years later, I just did it on a point and shoot camera. Right now, I would do it on my cell phone because
yeah,
it's so easy, you
yeah,
know? There's so many apps that will like edit these video clips. I had to do it by hand in some random thing that came with the MacBook. I don't even iMovie or whatever it was back in the day. Remember that?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and like 3 years later, that video brought in one job that was $8,000. Well, that guy owned 10 buildings. It became a $97,000 job that came from YouTube because
Mm,
I started asking Tom, where did this lead come from? The internet. No, that's not an acceptable answer.
yeah.
Where on the internet? Did they search for us? Did they watch a YouTube? Did they see us on Twitter? Did they know Alan Buchanan? What was the connection? And that's what I'm talking about with the lead tracking. And then, so that job, the gross profit from that job alone, that from a video that was 3 years old, there were other projects, but this was the best one, right? That the gross profit from that job paid my salary as an office manager for half a year.
Mm,
That
mm.
video is still on YouTube. He's
Yeah,
probably still bringing in business. This is the thing. It's like you hear the pain points from your customers. I don't know what this is going to look like. And then you go, well, let's show you what the process is.
yeah.
It looks better than new, and they were like, oh, so this became not just something on social media, not just something that we tweeted, not just something in a blog post or on YouTube. It became something that my boss, who was doing the estimates and the sales calls, would send a link to in the email from the customer who was asking about it.
Mm, yeah.
And so social media is also a place for people to validate your business and
Mm,
to bring in those leads because they're like, well, I didn't know that. I thought maybe something bad was going to happen. Like, I don't know. I don't want my building to look like crap. You know what I'm saying? So this is just one small, super small example of how building out those social profiles and I was doing this in between payroll, reconciling the bank account, sending out contracts, random people coming into the office, giving me $85,000 checks that I got to go make a deposit for before Tom runs off in 5 minutes. That's the 5 minutes a day. That's why it's so important because you can do it while you're doing the laundry. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
can do it while you're waiting for somebody to do something else. It doesn't have to be this huge production. It can just be, oh, I really like that. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I really like this tool, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, social media is really simple. You just got to show up. You've got to be real, listen to what your customers are saying, what problems they have, and then building those relationships. So it's really no different than what any small business is doing with their customers offline anyway.
Yeah.
Just doing on social media. That's how you grow online and that's how you grow offline. It's the same.
And you're staying consistent. One more
Yeah,
construction related story.
exactly.
So, okay, I was at Evans Roofing. They're in Santa Ana also. They do commercial roofing. And there was this guy, a sales rep from Structural Materials. His name is Bob Brands. I remember this guy's name 20 years later because he brought donuts every
Mm,
Thursday from oh those donuts in Newport Beach, and they had the best apple fritters. And even though I was accounts receivable and collections sitting in the reception spot, he didn't like go, "Oh, can I talk to Tony or Mark?" He talked to me too. He talked to everybody. He
Mm,
believed in building those relationships. That's why I remember his name 20 years ago, you
yeah,
know? So
absolutely.
like, and how many times more have we been on Twitter where somebody asked, "Oh, do you know somebody who writes documentation?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's kind of a specialty. I don't know who writes documentation."
Mhm.
Well, I knew there was somebody, but I don't, because like they'll leave it. They'll leave the platform, which is a huge, humongous mistake, you know?
Yeah.
Because they think they don't like who owns it. I don't like Microsoft, but I'm still on LinkedIn.
Mm,
You know what I mean? But you have to, that's one of the other things that's super important about social media is like you said, show up. I would add to that, keep showing up.
yeah, got to be consistent. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why it's like, I think a good schedule, like to give something actionable that'll at least be in the notes, is like maybe Monday is LinkedIn Mondays and you do your 5 minutes on Mondays, right? Tuesday for Twitter.
Mm,
Um, Wednesday could be Google business pages. Thursday could be your Facebook page. Friday could be Instagram because people are like already thinking about the weekend. You
mm,
know, that's a really good way to like go. I'm drinking my coffee, getting ready for the store to open, and I'm just gonna do this. You know, fo- follow three people, comment on two things, post something new.
yeah, yeah. Consistently every day, just be visible and get into conversations with people. And then it's nothing special. It's just you conducting business. I think
You
that's
want to
really,
tell people why we're writing a book?
I think we just did. Yeah. Yeah, I think, the main reason is because I really think, people are starting to especially small business, you save money, you use AI tools, but I think those human connections and you being visible, they're even more important now with AI tools, and I think our book is a reminder, that hey, there's still books, and that social media is still really important. It's the most important thing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to add to this. So if you made it all the way to the end of this book, I mean, at the end of this video,
Okay.
and you buy our book, um, I I will send you the Keys to Being Social book. You
Oh,
just
nice.
have to tell me that you want it because this talks about all the behaviors, all of the behaviors. This is my life's work right here. I will send you a copy of this book. You just have to like mention, go find me on the internet and send me a selfie with our book, and then send me your address. I'll send you the book because this is so important. I believe in small businesses. My customers are SaaS businesses, but I just have a heart for small businesses. And both of us, Warren, laine-naida, and I, are both teachers. We love teaching, and you can find me at bridgetwillard.com.
And you can find me everywhere. I'd love to see you on X, Warren L. Naida.
All right. Any last words before I stop the recording? That's it.
That's it.
Ciao.
I ciao
Okay.
for now.
See you on the internet.
Yeah, bye.